Good, Jen?
Yes, hopefully that's working now.
Okay.
Thanks.
Awesome, thank you. Can everybody hear me okay? Yes? Okay, sweet as. All right, so this is a photo here of Greenbridge. Greenbridge is a local landscape design organization. They specifically help people with large bits of land or even small urban properties to put together the best format or the best layout for their property. And they take into consideration all sorts of different dynamics that have to do with the landscape. So they're a major trailblazer sponsor. So we have different tiers of sponsorship from local businesses. We align with local businesses that are sharing our values. So we specifically ask or approach the ones that we feel are also moving in the same direction that we are and have a similar target audience. So Greenbridge has been with us from the beginning, and they are our major funder. And we often will have an event or two there. They're currently hosting 20 different talks on their property, all of which are free. It costs $2 to enter a garden, so it's really affordable and accessible to everyone. And children are free. Any children under the age of 16, there's no charge for them. So this is totally targeted at families, many of which are the ones who come. So a lot of people bring their kids, and it's about intergenerational learning that's really important to not only Sustainable Taranaki, but also in a behavioral change capacity. It's proven to be the best way to instill learning. So if you teach, if you have grandma teach their mokopuna and they want to learn how to sow seeds, it's the science behind it says that that will stick with them their entire lives, which sort of seems like a common sense, but it's really good to validate that with research and science, and to say this actually is the way that people learn the best. So this festival, this trail cultivates that and creates an environment 30-fold around the mountain for people to do just that. This is a picture of the Green School New Zealand. I'm not sure if anyone's heard of Green School, but Green School New Zealand is the first in New Zealand, and it is based on Kodu Road, which is just in between Okura and New Plymouth. So it's not that far out of town. It's probably about 10 minutes down the coast of the peninsula. And these are the students working with Tobias. So they have a massive greenhouse that was repurposed and saved for their site. It came from another market garden down the road. So the students are able to learn in this environment, and it is absolutely stunning. I think it's worth just going to see the greenhouse, but you'll also go to the campus and see all of the little, there's like egg-shaped buildings. They're called kina. There's a kina building being built at the moment. And actually the offcuts from this build are being used by the Men's Shed, which is another local charity, to make our open and closed signs on sandwich boards that will go outside each of the garden festival, or sorry, the garden properties. So we're trying to involve everybody, and any decision we make, we're looking at ways to reduce waste and save on funding, and also support others who are interested in being part of this. Now, if anybody has a question.
Photos aren't advancing. It's still on the same photo.
Oh, sure. Sorry. So this is the Green School photo. Oh, I see. So is it not, can you see this picture? It's a lavender farm.
Oh,
No.
so I can't see any pictures at all. Can other people see one picture?
Okay, I'll exit
yeah,
this.
we've just got the one.
Oh,
there we go. It's that.
So I'll just back it up so maybe you can. So this is Toko School. Can you see the kids?
Yes. I can.
Oh, okay, here we go. Oh, stop me sooner, guys. I'm looking at my own presentation here thinking, gosh, the pictures are amazing. Awesome. Okay, so whoops. Let's see, can we go back? Oh, well, I'll take you right through all of them and then I'll start over. You can see everything I've got. And then that should start over. No, okay. Remote control more. Let's see. Right. So is that still, can you still see a photo of some sort?
I can see your browser, so you can see like the small.
So if I start the slideshow again from there, can you see that? This is the logo?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Great. I'll just take you from the top. So the Sustainable Backyards Trail, this is our logo. This was just designed by our graphic designer who stayed with us for the last 7 years. Her name's Jenny Hammonds. I'm meeting with her today to talk about our first spread for the Taft booklet, which is the Garden Festival booklet. We're being featured in there as well. 40,000 copies go out all around the country. So it's a really great opportunity for us to showcase what we're doing. And this is our logo that we've had from 2016. And just share what the Sustainable Backyards Trail is about. It's a time to celebrate, share knowledge and ideas, engage in conversations, workshops, and tours. All these photos are photos of the gardeners, by the way. So this, I was talking about Greenbridge before. So this is their location. That's their glass house. And this essentially is their backyard. They also have a front yard, and they have lots of different examples of how people can deal with common obstacles like terracing and swales, replacing natives for gorse. So they talk to those points. This was the Green School greenhouse I was mentioning before. And that's Tobias and some of the students who came, and they were planting sunflowers for, it was when they were commemorating and I was doing a bit of a memorial for Ukraine and doing that sort of activity with the kids. This is Toko School. So you've seen this one just before. These are students who are really excited to share what they are doing throughout the year. So they've got worm tea for sale and all sorts of preserves and chicken eggs because they have their own chickens. And they're really excited to take visitors all around the school. So they have an orchard. I went a couple years ago and it just totally filled my cup to see kids so passionate about what they're doing at school and what they're learning. And it really, I was excited for them because I don't remember at this age learning all of that knowledge. So it's great to see they're starting so young. So these were some of the feedback that we received. What changes will you make in your own backyard? So a lot of people are really excited. It just fuels them up, and then they want to do it in their own backyard and in their own way. And this trail gives them the platform to do that. Yeah, does anybody, now I just want to interact with you guys a bit more. Does anybody have any questions or how they could potentially apply this where they are, or Nick or Rena, or, you know, have you? You can unmute yourself if you'd like. There's not many of us on the conversation, so we can have a discussion if you'd like.
People are obviously shy this morning.
Sorry, Jen.
Oh, sorry, Rena. Go for it. What were you saying?
Oh, I'm sorry, it's Rena here. I'm from Taranaki Environment Centre, so here in Gisborne. I was just wondering what you said you run it over quite a large area, like sort of, you know, all areas surrounding your maunga. If there are any challenges to pulling together a program that goes over such a large geographic spread, because we have similar kind of issues here in Tairāwhiti, like we're here right down the bottom of the region in Gisborne, but we go all the way up to the top of the coast. So from here, to Te Araroa is about a 3-hour drive on a good day?
That's a really good question. And it's also a challenge for Sustainable Taranaki. And the way we've started to tackle that is to give South Taranaki its own identity. South Taranaki is about 2 hours from New Plymouth and even further from North Taranaki and parts of Stratford. So it's nice to know we have similar struggles, with the opposite peninsulas here. And really, like, anywhere that's more than an hour away is its own place. Like, it's hard to just lump it together and be like, right, we're all the same community. So we realized that a couple years ago, and we have Andrea Rowe, who's a South Taranaki coordinator, and we also have a woman named Alice who's just come on board to oversee the community garden that was just started down there. So I think by having more team members based and actually living in those places, it helps us to really, I guess, drive more change in those regions and reach more people on a more personal level. So Andrea has ideas for her area. We've talked about a number of ways to create that identity, one of which is to take our logo and to have a different view of the mountain from their perspective. So those are some of the conversations we're having and targeting our mailing lists, and that's more of a comms perspective. But South Taranaki, it has about, I think there's 7 different properties this year in Hawera and the surrounding areas down there. So that means that we also have 7 in New Plymouth. So it's quite even. And we have to really value what's going on in Hawera in the south. So by also making sure that the properties are somewhat close together and open at times that they're all around the same time, or they can attend different workshops, and those are all coordinated together. I'm really conscious of that to allow people, when they make that drive, they can actually see as many as they possibly can when they're down there. So that's from a backyards perspective. And they'll have their own set of events as well. So yeah, just giving them a bit of autonomy, really, but also ensuring that our team is connected. Any other ideas or ways to? This is something we're dealing with on our team. Maybe Joe has something to add. But thank you.
Couple of questions from here. Sorry, Joe, were you about to say something? Pete, my son here, had a question.
Is it hard to organize it?
Thank you, Pete. That's a lovely question. So far, this is my first year organizing it. I've always worked closely with Aaron and Lane, who organized it prior to me doing the main management. I'm finding that there's a lot of moving pieces all at once. So yes, it is challenging, but it's a good challenge. It's really rewarding for me because I studied horticulture, but I also have a business degree, and I was really active on comms. So I have all the pieces of the puzzle. I just need to fit them together at the right time. So yes, it is challenging, but it's also exactly what I want to be doing. And yeah, I think the part that's the most challenging is that you have to organize it all at once and so early. A lot of my work takes place in February, March, April, May. That will be the bulk of my work, so I'm organizing it now. And then once it launches, then I do more of the health and safety and the visiting of the gardens with their host packs and making sure everybody's ready to go. So yes, I'm wearing a lot of hats at the moment. Thank you for that question, Pete.
Gosh, yeah, that's a lot of work involved with that, Brittany. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I was wondering too about transport, and I'm sorry if you've mentioned this and I've missed it, but is it something that is reliant or based around kind of private transport models, or is that somewhere where you've looked at involving like buses and that kind of thing? I know that can be in recent years that's become quite problematic, but is that something that could be part of it or has been part of it?
That's an awesome question. Thank you for acknowledging that, because the transportation is a major area of interest for Sustainable Taranaki at the moment. Well, for a while now, actually, and active transport is something we're always promoting. In previous years, we've done e-bike tours. So we have an e-bike tour that runs alongside the trail, and we have 5 different gardens, both a mixture of garden festival and backyard trails, trail properties that will take about 20 e-bikes around town, and that's really exciting. So that's one way to encourage people to take their bike or e-bike to the different locations. A lot of them are within biking distance. And it helps with parking, it helps with gas, and it just is, it's exciting, it's fun. We've got a lot of trails, and I'm sure other regions have lots of trails in between their neighborhoods, just like Taranaki. So it's good to find those trails as well. This is the first year that we're going to do a bus tour. We've always wanted to do a bus tour. We're partnering with Discover Taranaki. They do Taste and Tales, and they're 2 ladies who are experienced in doing tours. So I'm allowing them to take the leadership on doing a tour. There's a lot involved with organizing a tour. So they're planning to do 4 bus loads of 12, and they'll be traveling in sort of a circuit. So they'll start at 4 different locations, and then they'll just rotate. So this allows for people to have more of an upscale experience. So it's catered, and they'll have nibbles and drinks, and then they'll have local producers talk to them at each garden about their journey and what sort of local produce is available to people. And they'll be in a setting where there's market gardens, and it's quite exciting for them to have a tour of the place as well. So that's one way, but it's certainly not tackling the major, if you figure all these people coming into the region and everybody's got 2 people per car, it can be quite a lot of extra traffic on the road. And I know the council is aware of that. So yeah, roadworks and things like that usually are put on pause thanks to Taft and their tenacity. But yeah, have you got any other ideas? Like, it's something that we're just dealing with as a region.
Not so much an idea. I was just thinking, like, what a great, that partnering with that company who's doing the tours, like, what a great way to show business that that there's a market for this kind of activity. Like that's such a good kind of signal to be sending, that people are really interested in doing this kind of thing. And then that's the sort of thing that could lead on to that business actually kind of incorporating more things like that into their their kind of day-to-day business, I suppose.
It is exciting that people are looking at this as like a targeted opportunity. Like, instead of just whining and dining at vineyards, they actually want to see where their food's being produced. And it's becoming more and more common for people to produce locally. So that's exciting. Thank you for that Correro and that question. I appreciate that. And if you have any ideas regarding transportation, please sing out. Joe, you've got your hand up.
Hi, I've just got just back to the question you had before regarding separating out your rohi. I just had a really prosaic question. Do you have a CRM tool that you're using, and how are you managing comms amongst the different groups? Just asking because we're very similar, very, very, very spread out. And at the moment we're using monday.com to organise various projects, but we find that the most difficult part of organising so many people who never see each other is what communication device can you use as an email?
Right. Yes, this is an awesome question. Putting my comms hat back on. Yes, we talked about Monday, and we mentioned we needed a better system. I believe you termed it CRM. That's the overarching term for all the different communications that we could potentially have. There's a couple others, I think, that I looked into. One starts with an A. There's
Agoda. Oh no, wait a minute. Oh yes, I know.
Asana? Is it Asana?
Yeah, that's the one. There's so many different platforms that you can use. It's just which one's the best. So how are you finding Monday to work?
Well, we are finding Mondays really good for we're giving out compost systems and mentoring people to compost, and it's 1,200 people, so you can imagine it gets hectic. yeah, Monday's really good for that, but in turn, it doesn't have a platform for chat. So, you know, it's great on 9/10ths of it, but we can't have those really fluid conversations where we're trying to organise transport, trying to link people, and we all have about 8 hours a week, so it's quite limited hours to coordinate things.
Right. Yes. Sorry, Joe, where are you based?
Oh, sorry, I'm in the far north, so we manage from Kaipara up to the top of the North Island.
Nice. Okay. So yeah, we're all dealing with these situations. It's nice to just connect with everyone and realize that we all are having a very similar problem of connecting
Totally.
an entire region. Joe, did you catch any of that about Monday and using a platform to connect our team a little bit more readily? We've tossed it around in the past, but maybe Joe can add to that conversation.
I don't know if I can add. It's just a work in progress. It's something we're still talking about and trying to figure out. And at the end, it doesn't matter which program you use. It's all down to that, you know, the effort of keeping that program going and making sure that everyone's putting in their part. So hopefully we'll come up with a brilliant solution, and then we'll become world famous when we crack how to keep it together.
Was it Daniel from what was he, Beautification Trust? I think he did a talk yesterday or the day before about different tech stuff, and he recommended Asana in that kind of sense. But then I can't remember who it was from EnviroHub Bay of Plenty talking about the sustainable backyards. No, yeah, that's right. It was that, wasn't it? I'm getting a bit confused now because there's so many different things going on around the place. And they talked about monday.com. So those are two that I've heard recently mentioned. So it would be really good to kind of have somebody sort of have a bit of an analysis of those and, you know, figure out what might be the better one to try, or I don't know, really. Maybe we just have to just try them out and see how they go.
Yeah, it'd be really cool if the Environment Hubs Aotearoa had some sort of training for people, because we're all great at composting. We're fantastic at outside work, but tech can be daunting.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good suggestion. Thank you, Joe. And thank you, Nick, for contributing to that. But yeah, does EHA have a system that they're using at the moment?
Sorry, just unmuting myself. For a system, not at the minute, actually. We've been playing around with a few different ones. So yeah, it's but yeah, we're definitely like things like training and stuff. There's definitely funding available to sort of facilitate these sorts of things, and yeah, this is the kind of feedback that we're really keen to hear from the three. So these are really great ideas. And in fact, I was just getting the what's it called? Not dashboard, the Jamboard. I was just going to go and open that and make a note of that in there, because that's a great idea to sort of bring out of this session, I think. Just there seems to be quite a lot of interest in people sharing skills and knowledge around the network and training and upskilling in various different areas. So that's definitely something good to focus on, I think.
Awesome. Great. Oh, good. So I'll just jump back to the presentation if that's okay. I've got this is a picture of a cold frame, so it's another example of what you can do at home, and I'm sure a lot of us already have these, but heaps of people don't know what they are or why we have them. So showing what you can do with upcycled materials is a form of waste reduction. It's also giving people a reason to be outside with the kids or whoever, their whānau, and also it's a really effective way to grow at home. So this is an example at one of our locations called Heart and Soil. This is the website if anybody cares to have a look. Right now, this is the first year we've put a curtain in front of it, so it doesn't reveal all of our gardens until the launch in July. So it's kind of like an unveiling, if you will. So we're trying that out for the first time. So right now, when you go to the Backyards Trail, this is sustainabletaranaki.org, but you can find the Backyards Trail on there as well, or you can go directly to our website, sustainablebackyards.org.nz, and you can order a booklet. So this is also the first year that we're doing a mailing list, and we have about 100 people from a lot of people aren't just from Taranaki. I'm getting people from different regions wanting a booklet. And the booklet's a 16-page compostable booklet that showcases all of the backyards, gives a description, has an events spread with our 70+ events that we're having in line with the trail. And we're doing 5,000 copies, which is the most we've ever done. So previously we did 4,000. This year we're doing 5,000, and we're looking at and doing some target marketing with that as well. So this is the slide. I'm just another garden that I've visited recently, but growing our social media presence is really important to me. It's a lot of people are on their phones, most of which are using their phones to navigate the trail and find out information about it. So the more we can be present on social media, it gives people the opportunity to click and learn. This year, actually yesterday, in my backyard, we recorded 3 videos. They'll each be 1 minute long. And instead of doing a launch video, we're doing 3 different DIY tutorial videos, one of which is on water collection in your backyard and why that's important. The other video is on the cold frame and seed propagation and how to go about doing that with a hygiene tray. And the third video was a collaborative video between me and Mika, my colleague, doing lasagna bed layering and how people can just start on the grass basically and use cardboard and grass clippings and hay and sawdust to get started in building their soil. So it's giving people really practical advice in a short snippet, and then learn more, join us for the Backyards Trail. So we're hoping that will be an effective way to reach people. So this is what I've just explained before, and it's a picture of our Marfell community garden. So I live just behind here. My house is up along the bank, and then we come down and we have a Marfell community garden, which I hope will be on the trail next year. We have 3 other gardens that are community gardens. We've got New Start Gardens, which is Seventh-day Adventist Church Garden, and it's also the location for land-based training. They'll be on the trail this year. And then we have EHA and Eltham. They're also a community garden, and they also are a food bank. And the third garden is, last year we had Perihaka. They're taking a break this year, and we are having the Hawara newly established garden. It's at the St. Mary's Church, which I've got a picture of in the slides. We also try to get featured on radio. Last year we had a Talking Taiao radio show, and we interviewed Bina, and she was also interviewed by RNZ, and they talked about Greenbridge and their role on the Backyards Trail, and that gave us a lot of coverage. We had over 700 clicks to our website just from that article. So RNZ really helped us out in going a bit more on a national level. This is just Bina and a couple people from our community who are learning about their property and how they've landscaped it.
Can I just, sorry to interrupt. Oh, this is probably actually a good moment. I was just going to say, I've been running lots of different gardening and composting workshops down here recently, and we're getting like 95% women and hardly any men. And just looking at that previous photo of yours, I could see it looked like it was mostly women. And of course, it might just be that's just who was in the photo. But I was just kind of curious to ask, anybody else who's on here as well, if that's a pattern that other centres are finding, and if anybody's got any kind of thoughts about how to work around that, and perhaps that's relevant with this picture here. But I'd just be really curious.
That's a good point as well, Nick. Thank you. Also putting my comms hat back on, the last couple of years doing the stats, it is about 80% women who are between the age of 25 and 40. So that's our main target audience. I don't know if that has anything to do with the fact that that's me and that's maybe who I was communicating the best with. We're not sure. It would be great to get more males involved in the communication side of things. We do have a pretty wide variety of people interested, though. We have 72 different countries represented in New Plymouth in our region. So we have I mean, the migrant community is definitely present. So we are looking at ways to target both male and diversity in demographics and nationality. So here's a picture of two guys. So this is Robbie, and we've got Phil. And these guys deliver veggie boxes to people all around. I'm one of their customers, and I'm really happy to be on their list because I live close by, and they're urban market gardeners. So there are lots of men on the scene. It's just that the ones who are interested in coming around, I don't know if it's because it's during the day and maybe a lot of males are working. I'm not sure. It's not in the evening. Typically, we have a couple evening open hours, but it's more between 10 and 3 during the week. And then on the weekends, you see a lot of families come out. But when I hosted the trail last year, a lot of people were coming with their husbands or with their children and their husbands, especially on the weekends. So the men are definitely there. I'm just not sure why during the week maybe is a barrier for them. But a lot of the market gardeners who are on the trail are actually male. So there's no reason, they're part of the picture. Social media, my partner's a roofer, and he's definitely not watching growing videos. He's watching roofing videos and whatever else I don't want to know. But I'm not sure how to grab their attention just yet, because the tradies are definitely somebody we'd like to get more in the conversation. In the building sector is a huge form of waste at the moment. Like, we need to figure out that as well. So happy to talk more about that. What do you think, Nick? What are your insights around that?
Yeah, I don't know actually, and I haven't put any real effort into trying to suss that out, just because it's another time-consuming activity, really. But I mean, my part of me thinks maybe women are more open to new ideas, or more into sort of like actively seeking new ideas, and perhaps, maybe, I don't know, it might be stereotyping, but maybe men are a bit less reluctant to kind of attend something where somebody else is a sort of an expert and kind of knows more than them, perhaps. You know what I mean? Like, maybe there's more of an opportunity to seek some more sort of collaborative ways of sharing ideas that aren't necessarily based around your kind of traditional workshop sort of model, like a bit more of some kind of collaborative thing. I'm really not too sure. The workshops I've been doing are all on weekends, and like on a Saturday morning or afternoon, and so I realize that sport on a Saturday morning can be a barrier to that too. But I mean, I feel sure that somebody out there has done some research into learning around sustainability and behavior change in relation to gender and ethnicity, and all of that kind of stuff. But I'm not personally aware of it. But Jen, maybe that's something again that EHA might be able to access and then sort of share, like strategies for engaging, in these different sort of ways. And I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a really good suggestion. I think there was some really great insights that came out of some of the other sessions yesterday as well, just around kind of diversity, not necessarily. There was some talk as well about gender as well. And yeah, I think probably one of the best things, I mean, there will be a lot of research out there, and we'd certainly be happy to have a look and see if there's something useful that we can share. Often, probably, I think some of the best things to do is talking to other hubs like you're doing at the minute, and seeing if there are other hubs who have found certain strategies have worked for them, and certain ones haven't. So yeah, that's sort of where, having these conversations, I think, is going to be really, really important.
Nick, we have a behavioral change project manager on our team, and that's her main focus. she's brilliant, and she's done a lot of research over the last couple of years on this topic. And it's science-based because she's done a lot of surveys and doing different outreach to the community to find out what works. So she's presenting to us. I think she set a date already in the next couple of weeks. So I will mention to her that there's definitely an interest in in sharing this information a bit more widely. So that's a great point. Thank you again.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah, thanks.
Jen, how much time should I just lost track of how much time I should.
Yeah, well, we've got until 10:30 if you want to keep going, you can use.
Yeah, that's perfect.
And so actually I think there's another 19 minutes in the breakout room, so actually
Awesome.
we started.
Okay, yep, I've got quite a few more slides, but yeah, I'm happy to keep having little conversations. This is exciting for me too. So yeah, so this is a picture of St. Mary's Church. It was a derelict building, and now this is going to be the first Sustainable Taranaki collaborative community garden in Hawera. So we're reaching down south, and this is the one that Alice will be in charge of, and she's coordinating at the moment. We have Happen Films. Has anybody heard of the Happen Films by Together We Grow? So this is something that we brought to our region, and we're showing at different locations. So Alice and I have decided that instead of doing a major event, which requires a lot of planning and output and extra hours of our time, we thought we'd just play the movie on loop starting at 11 a.m. every time that the garden is open. So if it's raining or it's windy, people can go into the church and actually watch the movie. I thought that was a really good solution, and it gives people a chance to just listen and watch and see what's on offer, and it directly relates to the community garden scene. So I'm excited to see how that goes this year. This is called Bailey Terraces. This is actually a walking distance from my house, and it looks like you're in Bali or somewhere completely different. And Taranaki has that opportunity to really show off a lot of greenery just because of all the rain that we receive. And we're thinking about doing a nude gardening shoot this year. I don't think I've told you, Joe, but there's Nude Gardening Day in October, and it aligns closely with the trail, and there's quite a few people who are interested in doing a tasteful gardening photo, and I'm picturing it being in this particular atmosphere because we can hide behind the bushes. So yeah, I thought it would be a nice funny way to get the message out there that we're keen on gardening. We're also body confident, and we want to share what we have, literally. So we're looking at that, and I think that would be a good location for it. This is Michelle Busby. She does Goldbush Micro Farm. She's been in business for about 6 years. Her kids are the same age as my kids. She's really rocking it. She's getting it done. Her and her husband have a micro farm in Hawera, and she has food boxes as well and does the market. And she's been part of the trail from the beginning. I'm showing some growth numbers off to the left there. So we started out in 2008. Well, we started in 2016, but this shows some records from our annual report that we had 4,900 people, and we're growing that each year steadily. It's not a huge pop in numbers. We had a little bit of a setback with COVID last year, and even the year before. So we're really hopeful that we might crack 7,000 this year, or maybe even 8,000. I'm not sure what the possibility is. I'd like to think that we might hit 10,000 with 30 different places to visit, and borders being open, and Auckland being allowed to come down. So I'm really looking forward to growing the numbers this year. This is Mika. She's the one who did the video tutorial with me, and she's super passionate. She's an organic horticulture tutor. She's always giving me new information. I feel like at some point you feel like you know a lot, but you still learn something new. So it's great to have people like that on the team, but also who are volunteering to be on the trail as well. Oh, what else have I got on there? Oh yes, so this is our website statistics. So we're starting to grow our reach on the website as well. We've had 24,000 page views last year. So we're growing the number of people who are landing on our page and looking around, and the bounce rate is pretty low considering our industry. So that means people are using the website to navigate around the trail. So that's a good sign.
Could you talk a little bit about the funding maybe? Because obviously it's a lot of work to put together a great event, but could you talk about how you're raising the money and if it's easy or difficult to do it?
Yes, sure, Joe. I'd love to share about that. But so I found it exciting. It was a little bit daunting, and I thought this would be the worst part of doing the trails fundraising. I mean, a lot of us, we can't, a lot of us do work for free on some capacity, and we volunteer a lot, but we really need the funding to make these events possible. There's a lot of hours that go into planning that people don't realize or see. So previously, the most we've raised is $8,500 in sponsorship. So that's from local businesses. We have 3 tiers of sponsorship. We've got the Trailblazer, which is the highest level, and they donate. Well, they not really donating; they're sponsoring us, so they're receiving something in return, and that's advertising in the form of logos, logo placement. We're hosting events at their location. And the logo gets to be put across all of our signage and on our website. So they also get some social media coverage as well. And this is all outlined in a proposal document that I've put together, which I'm happy to share with people if they're interested. But I found it really effective to say how we could help their business. And to be honest, we are really a great opportunity for a lot of businesses. So I mentioned Greenbridge. We also have Egmont Seeds this year, who have given us just a slightly lesser amount to Greenbridge, just to keep them as our focal point this year. But Egmont Seeds was really happy to come on board and support our mission. And yesterday, when I was doing the seed propagation, I did it's called product placement. So I used their seed packet in the video. So that was a way to generate that extra revenue to fund the video, but also my time, and to also give back to Egmont Seeds, because the truth is we do use Egmont Seeds, a lot of us, even though we save our own. We still buy the F1 hybrids every once in a while just to make sure we've got a good broccoli crop or something like that. And it's, I believe that the catalog is exciting when it comes in the mail, so I'm happy to support Egmont Seeds. And then we also have, who else is on board this year? We've got Jeff Fairweather Building. He does the Sire walls. So these are all the earth builds and the walls where they have the different colors of earth in them. And he finds a lot of, I talked to them about it. I said, where do you find your most value? Well, he got 3 jobs out of being part of the trail last year and sponsoring. So 3 jobs means he has about 8 months worth of work. So it's totally worth it for him to give us $1,500 every year for that advertising and that alignment. So we're really bringing value to people. Yes.
Quick question. Just wondering, do you have a like a protocol or a process for kind of who you would accept funding from? Because that's something that I wonder if there's another thing that might be similar among other hubs as well, that there could be kind of like a national guideline on or something.
Yeah, well, we don't have a national guideline yet, but we are somewhat of a small community here. So I actually know the people who are running these businesses. So I have a personal relationship with them and know them to be good businesses on that level. But also our trustees are really well known in the region as well in their expertise, and they are the ones who have the final say. So I'll create a spreadsheet and I'll say, how do these sound? Can you give us your approval, yes or no? And the ones who are sponsoring us, we really make sure they're aligned with us. But we also have done advertising, so ads in the 16-page booklet. We have a surveying company from Howrah who's purchased an ad. So they're not necessarily an eco company, but we found that it was good enough for them to be featured as an advert. They're representing the South Taranaki region, so we thought that was important too. But yeah, good question. It is always, Egmont Seeds, I had to make sure that was okay, because a lot of people feel that seed saving is the way to go. But in reality, if you look at the viability of certain plants and the market gardeners and what they're actually doing, they're purchasing bulk seeds and they're making sure those seeds are the best source, because otherwise they've lost a crop or wasted their time. So Egmont Seeds is, to me, I talked to John and really enjoyed the conversation with him, and he yeah, I think it's a lot of relational type stuff. It does take a lot of phone calls and emails, and it takes a bit of time to network, but it is worth it, and now we have a new partner that might stay with us each year. Who else? We've got Big Jim's, their local garden center, and they're actually going to be on the trail this year, so that's a form of marketing in itself. But they really do have a beautiful sustainable model of garden on their property, which could be retail space, but they've left it as an example for people to see. So I believe that's a good model for them. We have Mitre10 Mega come on board. They do a lot of donations to our community gardens. The Marfell Community Garden has benefited greatly from Mitre10 and what they've given us to get started down there, our tools. We had a shed donated to us, and we just offered to do the cladding. So we are creating some really solid relationships through the trail. And it seems each year they're willing to give a little bit more. So that's exciting too. I've just sort of bumped up the amount, and nobody flinched at it. So what I found also is that the businesses who are sponsoring us, like Tiny Homes, for example, Egmont Seeds, Greenbridge, the likes of Jeff Fairweather, Natural Technologies is a solar company. These industries are actually increasing their revenues based on the times that we're having. So while some businesses are hurting, these are the businesses that their revenues are doubling. So it's a really exciting time to be part of the sustainability movement in this trail. Yeah. Joe, is there anything you wanted to add to that? I'm just gonna go grab a tissue if you don't mind. I'll be right back.
So I think that the great thing about the Sustainable Backyards Trail is everyone gets excited by it and everyone wants to join in, and that's why Brittany was saying she was getting some people for money, but she's actually finding it not that difficult at all, because people are actually interested. They do think it's a way. It's got a lot of support from the council as well for it, and it's just an idea that everyone loves and everyone kind of wants to be involved in. Like Brittany was saying, she had to wait a few years to get her position because in our organization everybody wanted to do it because it's so much fun, it's so rewarding, and for our mission, like what we're trying to achieve, we're not trying to have it all just doing everything. We want the community to take the lead, and here people going around visiting each other's gardens, learning from each other, forming these networks. And it's just, it's just cool. Everything about it is fun. Obviously, it's a huge amount of work for Brittany, but the rewards for us as an organization, for the community, is just massive.
Thank you, Joe. Yeah. Yeah, it really does offer a way to bring everything together and just show it off all at once. That platform is really great. And I'm not sure, like, has anybody else thought about doing this? Like, I know Jen mentioned the Bay of Plenty, and the idea was originally from another region. I think it was Hamilton. I just, I'd like to know what other regions are interested in doing this, or can it be something that we can scale and share and help another place do the same sort of thing in their own way?
Yeah, it's certainly like for the barring the last 2 years, we have had a Heritage Harvest Festival every year for about 14 years, and that's been hugely popular. In our town, there's like 1,400 people, permanent population, but we would find that we would have thousands of people coming from out of the region to this, and so our regional development agency is quite interested in helping us to kind of boost that. And we've also, I don't know if anybody's caught up on, I think yesterday Robin did her talk about the Longwood Loop, which is a mobile farmers market that goes around our little maunga here, the Longwood Mountains. And so we're kind of looking at how we could have like a sort of a trail that goes around that loop and visit some of the places around that contribute to that mobile farmers market, and kind of tie it in with our harvest festival as well, and kind of leverage it like that. And I did mention to Hannah from Enviro Hub Bay of Plenty, when she was talking about their sustainable backyards, that it would be really cool if there was some kind of almost like a template, and that was where I thought that maybe Asana might be quite good, where kind of like an event management template that could be picked up by other hubs, and then has things like at this time of year is when you need to start doing these activities,
Right.
make sure this is done by this sort of time. And like we've got that for a harvest festival, but it's just written down in a folder, and it's in somebody's head. And it would be so nice if like the hubs could collaboratively kind of come up with like a sort of like a sustainable event management guide that incorporates what you're talking about, because I think that idea of, especially for us hubs that are geographically very spread out, there's various logistic challenges that come along with that. It's not just like, get a big hall and get a whole lot of people coming to your spot. It's how do we get the people going out to actually see these good examples all around the place.
Right.
I think there's sort of unique challenges associated with that would be really good to have that, input from people who've been doing it, from organizations that have been doing it for a while.
Well, thank you, Nick. What was the name of the one that tours around, the farmers market that tours?
It's called the Longwood Loop.
Longwood Loop. Okay.
Yeah. And that's proven quite popular. And so the part of the reason that's really important, this is a bit of an aside, but is because we found that it was really hard for our producers who have to drive for 40 minutes to come to a farmer's market in town,
right?
Because they spend so much time traveling, and then they don't know whether or not they're actually going to sell anything that day, that it just wasn't worth the bother. And so the Longwood Loop idea is that we have a electric van that goes around and collects their produce and drops it off in other little towns.
Right.
So it eliminates all of that transport and time and everything.
Well, it's almost like going back in time a little bit. Like I finished reading Little House on the Prairie and Farmer Boy to my children, and they had a tin man who would drive around, and each year they would wait for him to bring them their cooking ware. So it's interesting how we're going forward, but we're actually reflecting on what they used to do all along to make it really efficient for people, or to actually just survive.
Well, that's funny. I mean, that's actually kind of a lot of the inspiration for where Robin came up with this idea is from those old loops. And when we looked at the loops around South, and we realized actually that's how the region was initially set up, was based around these little trading loops.
Right.
And so we're actually finding that what we can potentially do is just to rediscover those loops and reconnect those loops. And that was how it used to operate.
Awesome. I love that insight. I think I'm writing a piece right now for one of our magazines, and I think I'm going to mention that, because it is worth letting people know that this isn't new. We're just rediscovering, and we're trying to make it applicable to what we have right now. Thank you for that.
I think
the latest hidden films. Sorry, Joe.
I think it's also worthwhile to note that these systems are still in existence in Europe, and because of the effect of colonialization, we've lost touch with, sustainable systems that are still functioning. It's not the old days we're returning to. It's that I think that we've worked on a poverty system for quite a long time. I know in France and Hungary, they have market garden vans that go around all the outlying villages each week. So yeah, maybe, we've almost become so isolated we don't know what sustainable initiatives there are around the world. Hand up, I'll go around, check them out.
Yeah, I'll join you.
It's a ministry funding for that trip, eh?
Yeah, no, peer-to-peer funding does not stretch that far.
Oh, we could always Google and talk online nowadays.
Shame.
Although, in saying that, I'm always looking at Rarotonga, and I'm pretty sure they probably have some loop stuff going on over there. So happy to make a hui in Rarotonga.
Yeah, let's make our next hui in Rarotonga.
Very, very tempting. Every time we talk about whether I might run off with money, that's where everyone knows they'll find me. So
So I'm just going to potentially wrap things up just because, you know, we are at time. Can I just ask, has it been pretty good? Obviously, you know, you're still talking, so it's obviously been a pretty good breakout room.
I've learned something. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been great,
no.
Brittany. Thank you.
Oh no,
Yeah,
we're going to get
really.
kicked out. Okay, I'll probably see you in the breakout room because the time has come. So give me 2 seconds and I'll close in there.